Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha Giffen, the Communications Manager for the town of Amherst. This meeting is being recorded to the cloud and will be uploaded to the town of Amherst YouTube channel in a few days. This group can meet via Zoom due to Governor Healy's suspension of a few open meeting laws. At this time, I'd like to recognize the chair, Tom, and thank everyone in this group for their volunteer hours and effort in support of the arts. Tom, please do a sound and video check before starting, and thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Samantha. Okay, Dara, we can hear you. You can hear us, okay?
I can.
Okay, Mikey?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Lori?
Yes, I can.
Okay, sounds like we're good. All right. Um, let's see.
I want to
Just,
thank you, Tom and Lori, for all the good things you guys are doing right now. It's very exciting to see it.
well, thank you. It's been fun.
I agree with Dara, 100%. And is one of the things we're doing tonight about the treasurer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that we got a list of things, but I didn't get to it.
Yeah, I've amended the agenda um so that we can I've added those sort of housekeeping like issues. Hey, am I succeeding in sharing my screen here?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
So Lori, do you have two screens and that's why you can read something over to the side?
I do.
I don't know how people,
Oh, I really need the two screens.
Yeah, that's become very standard. The last few colleges I worked at, all the clerical staff and most of the faculty had two monitors. I could never get used to it though. So I was
that's
just
over my
telling
head.
me it was time to retire.
Mhm.
Okay, am I sharing now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so just call to your attention that just a half hour ago, I added these bubbled items here because we got a string of little matters that we need to um, take up before we get to our main agenda for today. Um, Let me see if I can also. I get the minutes. Get those done. Okay, I believe we were all present last time. I think Lynn came in a few minutes late, but was there. So I should add her. I need to add a note. I need to add Lynn into the list here of people attending. Okay. You approved the January minutes. My updates were that Elena Storm be exhibiting. And by the way, um, we had really very successful reception for her. Mostly because she had her posse of about 20 people show up, and they were party people. It was very lively, and I had a wonderful time talking with one of her friends there. Excuse me, one of their friends. at the reception, and Elena was very grateful for it. Okay, so I included here an update that we had discussed that award of a partial amount from Amherst Cultural Council. And so I just wanted to put in here for the record what our concern was there, and especially about the two um, grant remainders that we were looking for. We can talk more in the course of tonight's meeting about treasurer and proceeding to get a better grip on the finances. We talked about the percent for art at the new elementary school. Lori and I had sent an email summary, and then both participated in a discussion with everyone here. And I'm not, as I've been doing, I've not tried to detail every little bit of the discussion. At the close of the meeting at that time, we were on notice to attend a town council meeting, which happened last Monday night. And Lynn and I attended that and sent you a summary from it. And again, that would be the topic of discussion for this meeting tonight. Also noted here that the commission discussed the need to be better informed, more visible. And I wanted to plant that here in the minutes because, again, tonight we have an action item we can take in that direction. And as I've been doing, I put the note that if anyone cares to hear all the details, here's the link available to the public to listen to the meeting and to read the transcript. Transcript's been getting a little cheeky recently. I suspect some AI at work, but it's still moderately helpful. It takes almost as long to go through the transcript as it takes almost an hour, and but it's all there. Are there any things that I'm missing, or anything here that you think needs to be modified?
I move we accept the minutes.
Okay, a second to that?
I second.
Okay. Hello, Terry.
Hi there. How's everyone doing?
Good.
We're all doing fine. Glad to see you.
Sorry I'm late.
No problem. I'm glad to have you here. Okay, so can we vote on the minutes? All in favor of accepting them?
Aye.
Hi.
All right, okay, that passes. Thank you all. Okay, let me see if I can go back and find the I used to be an IT guy. You'd think I know how to do this. This looks better. Okay, so here's our agenda. By the way, quickly, notes from the meeting of March 10th are here among the things that I sent you. And then lurking over here this is a copy of the memo that Paul Buckelman sent to the town council. I think I forwarded this to everyone. So this is his memo, followed by a copy of the bylaw, and then after that, come on, document that I had prepared, giving some of the background on where we found the information we were looking at. Okay, so you've got a fresh copy of that also. Okay, so for today's meeting, just in a sentence, I had a meeting with John Page, the new director of the Business Improvement District. He is, his top agenda item is, with regard to our interests, is to get the Art Night Plus started. He didn't say when he thought that would happen, but it sounded like he was hoping, within a month or two. His intention is to try to get it running, even if it isn't the full agenda that was discussed at the meeting back in the fall, and to try to catch up with that um, as interest grows in the arts night itself.
Did John mention anything about how this is going to be funded? Is this going to be like the Cultural Council grants, or how are we going to afford this art night?
He did not bring up that topic, and neither did I.
Okay.
He didn't seem to be concerned about whether it's doable. He just saw it as a matter of, getting the participants.
Has he
Okay.
talked to participants like the museums, like
Yeah, he
Emily
said that he's been
Dickinson?
making the rounds of them because he knows who was involved
Okay.
previously and has those
Okay. Okay.
notes.
Okay. Great.
And I told him it's high on our agenda too. We'd love to see it reinstated.
It'll be really good for downtown Amherst.
Right.
Yes, yeah,
I think for us to be involved, it would be every 2 months would be the best thing, because with our
yes, right. With the
Yeah,
if
schedule
it
coinciding
were
with it.
every
tomorrow,
month, it would be tough.
Yeah,
yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's
I
hard
agree.
enough for us to get anybody
Mm-hmm,
in that space,
It is.
let alone 2 months.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, good point.
Right. Okay.
Okay, moving on to the treasurer. Um, since just right after the last meeting, Lori volunteered that she would do that job. And as I recall, Mikey responded right away that she liked that idea, and Terry wrote as well also. Let me ask whether anybody else is jumping up and down, anxious, eager to be treasurer.
I sent you a note saying I thought it was a great thing to do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. Well, can I have uh, a motion to appoint Lori as treasurer?
I make
So
a
Is it
motion to
is it an
appoint.
appointment? It's appointment? Okay. I didn't know if it was a vote or an appointment.
Well, I asked Angela about it, and she said she preferred that we took a vote
Okay.
just for transparency.
Terry, why
So
don't you
then,
make the motion and I'll
okay,
second?
I'll
Okay,
put
we've
forth
got it.
I'd like to make a motion to have a vote to possibly elect Lori Friedman as the treasurer of APAC.
And I
Okay,
second it.
second.
There you go.
Do we have discussion of the motion?
Laura, do you want to talk about your candidacy and how you think you're up for the job?
Well,
Also, thank you so much, by the way,
I
for
can
putting your
tell you
name
that
You
I
forward.
got
jumped right in.
frustrated
You
wondering
jumped
where the
right
money
into it.
was. So, so I
Good.
decided that I would wanted to reach out to the town, and it would be easier to do it and ask these questions if I were the treasurer. So I decided
Yes.
to nominate, to volunteer to be the treasurer.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Okay,
Fantastic.
good. Thank
Agreed.
you. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of electing Lori to be our treasurer?
I,
Aye.
Okay. Aye. The ayes have it. Lori,
Great.
Woohoo.
thank you.
Would you
Yay.
be, I do want to go over
Yes.
what I did get from the town,
Yes.
and I don't know if this
Please
is
go
the
right
right
ahead.
time or later.
Yes, do it now.
Okay. So I did receive detailed accounting from the town, and I could share my screen to show it to you if you want to see it. And I think I sent some information as well, but let's see. There was, let's see if I can find the original email about that.
Okay, try sharing. I just clicked the setting that said allow multiple
Okay.
participants there.
All right. I'll try to share my screen. Okay, I'm going to be looking over my shoulder a little bit onto my other screen. And let me share. Okay, did that work for you? Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I was told that we have $4,534 in our account. And this came from Holly Drake. And so that's the total we have. Now, this is, these are different payments that we've made. So the last one that went out was to repair Poetic Dialogue. And then these were previous payments that have gone out of this account over the last, going back to 2020. So there hasn't been a lot of activity. And then if we go here, we received, this looks funny, it's minus, but it's not really. That's what we went into the account. So we received 850. I'm assuming it says it's public art
Yep. That
electric
was
box.
from me. That was the
Okay.
grant that I got from the cultural council.
Okay.
And then I pay and then I paid it back. However that works out financially is weird.
Okay, well, in our minutes, we had that it was 690, so the actual amount is 850.
All right, no, that's different. Eight
Different?
fifty was last year's award. 690 is this year's award. It's a separate transaction.
Okay,
It's not
Mhm.
yet hit our account. I'm
so
trying to get them
690 should be,
to deposit that one directly.
okay, so 690 should be coming in then.
Yes.
Okay, so then, and I wasn't sure the signage for the Boltwood project, there was 1,500 at some point. I don't exactly see that here. I don't know when that came in. So I was trying to kind of make sense of that.
That was paid back because we didn't use it.
Oh, it was, so we didn't get to keep it.
Yeah. That's my understanding, but we didn't have any money flow through our hands in either direction. It was just it felt like a theoretical, you have $1,500 for this. You know what I mean? And since we didn't really have a treasurer or an accounting of our money. So I really don't know how that all works.
Oh, so it can't. All right.
Does that make sense, Lori? I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
It was
I
always
don't know. I
confusing to
mean, I
me.
don't understand how that, I guess I'll have to follow up.
Yeah, that's a question to ask. Yeah.
It's
So
like an
we,
earmarking of money that the town of Amherst does. They don't put it into an account for us. So there's like, as far as I know how this works, and which is weird from any other commissioner I've been associated with, because usually there's like, this is your account, this is your documents, but this always seemed kind of weird to me. So I'm not sure how it works, but I think that we were granted $1,500 from the cultural council for that project, and because we didn't go through with it, that money somehow made it back to the cultural council.
well, but that doesn't quite add up to, because this 850 came in.
That was from money I got a grant for, and that was for the electric boxes.
But that wasn't from the cultural council?
That was also from the Cultural Council, but it was put in my name when so I applied for it, and so they mistakenly put the check in my name, and so I just turned the check over to the town of Amherst for public art.
I see.
But since that project also fell through, we probably have to pay that back to the Cultural Council, however that happens. But
Um,
I don't have any, I don't know if that's for Tom. We were talking about figuring that out, and I haven't reached out to the Cultural Council yet. I don't know if you did.
But
Yeah.
maybe we could
No,
use some of that for this year with them with the electrified because we only got 690.
We just have to ask because it was allotment from the previous year, and so it's a year-to-year
Right.
grant.
So
So
maybe we could get,
we would have to get special permission because if you don't use the money in that year, you have to, release it back to them. So just not giving it back, I don't know if that's a possibility. I don't know how this works.
right, but maybe possibly.
okay,
Maybe.
so, um, and Terry, do you have any documentation on that 1,500 so that I can follow up with it, like dates
I
or
do not
anything?
because I did not get that. It was just money that I don't. We were all here at the same time. I don't. Like I said, there was no money that changed hands. I didn't turn in any kind of a check. It was just money that was supposed to be awarded to us for this. So
and
I really don't know.
this was for the Boltwood
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
update.
Yeah.
Okay,
okay,
now that was before I joined,
yeah.
just before, I think.
Just before. Yeah.
Yeah, Mikey, I wonder whether there's anything in the paperwork, whether would that have been something that Amy would have had?
No,
No,
it was
No, that
after
was after
it's
Amy.
way
It was
after
during
Amy.
after Amy.
Shoshana, but Shoshana no, Shoshana wasn't involved either. Who was Robert was, right?
No. Yeah, Robert
Oh,
was the treasurer. Yeah.
Right. So
no,
where did all his paperwork go?
I don't know if there was a whole lot.
nowhere.
I don't
I don't
think
think
he
there was
had
many.
much.
Yeah.
I think all he had done was follow what was in the account. He would get an accounting update and tell us what
So
was.
he might know that though.
Here's another angle. Um, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that at the Cultural Council's webpage, there is access to past year's records of awards from the Cultural Council. I know they have 2 years worth. I don't know if they have 3 or 4 years worth up there, but that would be, Lori, that would be worth looking for.
Okay, so I'll check there. So I guess what I will expect 690 to come in. So it sounds like we I think at a different part than of this meeting or another meeting, we need to go through what we really are going to do because we have had money come in for projects. We haven't used it. The money's disappeared.
Right,
Yep.
right.
On my list, we have this electric box makeover. We put a call out, nothing I don't know, we dropped the ball. So I think we need to discuss that and how we're going to work with that. We do have money in our account. The Boltwood project, I think we need to really move forward, use some of the money that we have to make a sign to do something so that that just isn't a total failure. Or at least to, if we're not going to do anything there, to take the old signage down and make it look like there's nothing there would be fine, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So those are on my radar in terms of money and using money or money that should come in or maybe money that has to go back, Terry,
Mhm.
that came to you. That 850. So I can
Yeah,
follow up with the Cultural Council.
yeah, then there's the NEFA,
That exists
5,000.
in an account. So that is
Okay.
being held in a making it public
Oh,
account. It's not in our
okay.
account, but it
Mhm.
is in
Okay.
a making it public account. So it didn't disappear. And there is
Okay, good.
$5,000 in that account. So I think that we should be able to use it. We'll have to
Mhm.
talk to the town about that and how we gain access to those funds, but they are
Mhm.
there.
Lori, I'm going
Mhm.
to forward you an email that Shoshana and I had when I asked kind of this question about how money moves. just so that you can see what she said. And
Okay.
she says, I think the funds went through town hall's office into our account. It's like this whole think thing. No one really knows. So I'm sending you this so that you're on the same page.
Okay.
The same page of
Thank you,
befuddlement.
Carol.
How about that?
Yeah,
And I can look in and see if there's any more in here that if I can scrape up any more information, I'll send it on to you.
Okay. Well,
okay,
I
thank you.
think we definitely, hoping we can set up another meeting to clear up some of these things and really get a timeline together for what we're going to do with dropped projects, whether we're dropping them and moving on, or and
Mhm.
closing them up and saying they're done, they didn't happen, or whether they're still ones we want to happen.
Okay, let's promise that as an agenda item for April. Promise
Okay.
ourselves. Okay.
So
Okay.
that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Lori, would you drop your screen sharing? Let's see if mine comes back.
I did. It's not, is it still showing? I'm
No,
seeing yours, Tom.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yours is on, Tom.
Oh, okay. It's on everywhere but my screen for some reason. Okay, now I have it back too. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Lori. Um, let's see. Uh, APAC representative for the Percent for Art Committee. I don't think we necessarily need to decide that right tonight. I mention this also because um, Lynn Thompson, who's not here this evening, had written to me to volunteer for that. And I think that too is one where we'll want to discuss and choose among ourselves. So I propose that we postpone that until April. Um, Angela advises me that we can create a small, this goes to Dara's question at the end of last meeting. Can we create a small working group to draft the mission policies document? And the answer from her is yes,
Oh,
as
good.
long as it's two or three people and not four. Four would be quorum, and we'd get back into open meeting requirements. So I would like to see whether this evening we can volunteer, get some volunteers to do that. Before moving on, though, I want to say I picked up at the town council meeting that the open meeting law is set to expire at the end of this month. And the councilors did not know whether the state legislature was going to legislate an extension to it or not. So I have no idea either, what's about to happen or not happen. In any event, we'll get our guidance, obviously, from the town as to whether we need to continue the open meeting rules. But getting back to this agenda item, I will volunteer to be one of the writers on this. Do we have another one or two people who can spend a few hours between meetings and maybe even have a separate meeting of the two or three of us to work on draft?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, Dara, that we got two.
And I think that it could, in general, be done in a one-time meeting of about 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah, I think we can do that.
Yeah,
And by
because
the
in
way,
person,
Lynn also, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dara.
that's okay. Go ahead.
Uh, Lynn also volunteered to work on drafting, so I can write to her, tell her that two of us have volunteered, and if she'd like to make it three, we'll make that the working group, and we'll try to
That's great.
knock this out. I think it would be great to get it done
Yeah,
by mid-May when we go back to the council,
yeah.
and I think that's probably doable. if we can't do it by then, who knows when we would get to it. So let's make it so. Okay. Okay, so let's turn now to our uh, main agenda item here, which is the percent for art. I'll just say a few words to start on uh, summary here. Lori attended the meeting uh, online, so I'll ask her then to add some comments and observations. Basically, the way this went was that Paul presented his memo, which calls for full funding. Well, what it calls for is no action by the council, which amounts to approving the 250,000. Quickly after he did that, um, Kathy Schern, who is the counselor and who's the chair of the elementary school building committee, she made a motion to reduce the amount to $100,000. 4 or 5 counselors spoke, that was then seconded. 4 or 5 counselors spoke up. Um, and I put in, um, Lynn and I put in in the comments, about a sentence from each of those counselors. The summary would be that they wanted to hear more information. Um, they were interested in, what kinds of flexibility is possible. So, for example, could the fund be used to support creation of artwork by teachers and students over maybe several years in the building, either as a replacement for a big art project or as an independent activity. One counselor said that he thought the council should just approve the full amount and stay true to the percent for art bylaw that was passed by the council. So eventually, another counselor made a motion to table the motion and postpone the discussion until the May 19th meeting. That motion passed, and so that's where we stand. I do need to go back and see in the minutes from that meeting what was recorded as the full text of the motion. There was some discussion. I think there was a question from one of the counselors, actually, as to whether the Public Art Committee would be invited to make a presentation to the council at that time. And the answer was affirmative to that. So I think we have an assignment to work between now and then to be ready to come before the council and give them more information. And I think by implication, this is just me speculating, that they will want to hear our take on how much money does the town need to spend to get to get a good, acceptable, outstanding artwork. I'll say candidly that I'm concerned that that session not become a negotiation between us and the council. It may be unavoidable, but and we can see what your thoughts on that are. So that's my summary. Lori, do you have anything to add to that?
Just that there was one question that was not answered, and that was if the money for could be used, the percent for art could be used across the street. There was a counselor that asked because there's, I guess, a sort of island or town common kind of area across where a big sculpture could go, and that would be very visible. And if that was connected to the school, could that space be used? A counselor asked that. I don't know that that wasn't answered. I think because they felt that if that was a place where we could put sculpture, then it could be, something more significant. In terms of the building itself, whatever we do, it has to be put in after the fact. It's too late now for us to have anything incorporated into the building. So for instance, a recessed wall where work would go. There are some spaces for outdoor sculpture, but not specifically designated by the architects or the contractor for that. So we would need to really look at the spaces. And there was an agreement, I think, that one of the counselors would give you, Tom, the different,
Yes.
sort of places where art could go so that we could be more specific about where we're recommending, which spaces we're recommending for the public art and the outreach, the, RFP that we would do.
So did you get a sense of how much time is involved in terms of our having time to both talk about and look into what kind of sculptor we could engage for a significant commission?
I think the way that I was thinking about this the other night, actually. I was, because some towns, some public art projects, the Public Art Commission, or they hire a consultant who then finds several artists, brings the work, and then a vote is made on which one to fund. The way it looks like we're talking about setting it up, or the council thinks we are, and I don't know if this is in the bylaw, that we would actually put out a call for artists. They would with specifications. We would then receive submissions. Those submissions would go through the advisory committee that would then come back to us, and we'd have the final vote on it. So that's my understanding. In terms of, so I don't know if the other option could work, would be acceptable, where.
It's just that, I mean, if the deal is honored as it's written, a $250,000 amount is significant enough to get a very amazing piece of work.
Right.
And it's certainly not a bike rack or a mosaic hopscotch.
Right. And I think that this is, so what I heard is that they want to hear from us. There are some counselors who really are interested in having something more significant and feel that that's what the bylaw was written for, and that was the expectation. So reducing it was not something that, they were interested in hearing from us what our recommendation is, and they wanted us to come to that meeting, present to them, and then they would take a vote. So I think we have from now until that meeting to get together whatever we want to present, and then show up and present what our recommendation is. And that's why I wrote out something that I sent to you all, that I think that our recommendation should be for the full amount. I think in the meeting that Tom and I first had with Kathy and the town manager and Lynn Griesmer, there was talk about, what could you do for 100,000? That was coming from her, I think. And Tom had some information from some public art projects where, you could do something for 100,000 or less. That those numbers were a few years old. So I think really what prices for everything have gone up. So I think that was under,
Yeah.
under what it should have been.
Right.
And, we discussed that, yeah, we probably could come up with something, but I think that's the wrong way to go. That's my opinion,
Huh.
is that it's the wrong way to go. I think we should go and say we want the full amount. This is the first time. This is going to set a precedent for going forward. I think it's really important to honor what percent for art is. Usually percent for art is 1%, and this was 0.5%, which is what the town felt at the time would make sense for a town of this size. And so I would say, to get something meaningful and significant and an artist who has a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and if you have something that's a really visible, valuable piece of art, you can use it for the publicity that the town so needs to show
yeah,
what its real spirit is and its true feelings about art in general.
yeah.
It's
Do
just
we
a
have
big
any
deal.
thoughts on what kind of art we want?
I don't think we should have
Like a
anything yet.
theme?
No, I don't think that we can do that for that amount of money. I think the artist is going to have to show us what's possible. And, I have a very strong feeling about some public art that is totally applicable to a theme and necessary in terms of like an idea that a town wants to express. But for this amount of money to identify, and maybe the consultant that you're talking about, Lori, is an important part of this, I'm not sure, is to identify serious young sculptors who a commission like this would change their careers and give us a real story to tell about how we use this a fairly conventional percent for art that is in many other places in the country. So I think it'd be really amazing to have something that, art's always controversial. And one of the values of it is that it's controversial and you can interpret it any way you want to. And that's valuable for people in terms of civil discourse, like to understand that, you can all have a lot of different ideas. And sometimes more abstract art gives people a chance to do more of that than art that comes with a rock hard message. So that's background so you'll know how I tend to think about it. And I think it's very exciting that I had been wanting this commission to actively work on this for a few years and for finally it to be up in public, to be talked about by the town council and by you all who went to the meeting. It's so refreshing to see it happening. It's really exciting. So I'm going to be supportive of whatever we as a collective commission decide to do. And I'm happy that we're even talking about it.
Um,
I'm going to go back to an issue that Lori raised or was asked about openly here. I've been scrolling back and forth through the bylaw, which is up on the screen here, the section on the Public Art Commission's responsibilities. And I don't see anything here that pins us down to the method of selecting the artwork. We are required to be consultative about it. And transparent about it. But we have seen, I agree, in the research that I did out looking around the web, that quite a few places choose an artist or consultant, and then that person formulates what's going to be recommended rather than taking the traditional RFP process, which is what a lot of other schools have done, to say, here's X amount of money, here are a few guidelines, tell us what you think you want to do. So I don't think those are two very different approaches. I'll
Yeah.
make the observation that I think if we were to do the uh, the 250,000, that I'd be more inclined to go with that first approach rather than a kind of lottery or, RFP approach to it. I think we'd get more serious engagement by one or more artists if we took that approach. And I'll also say that I have this hunch that the smaller the amount that we would spend, the closer we would get to the idea of, oh, make it something cute for the kiddies, as opposed to Dara's formulation, where the community is really taking a stand in favor of significant art. Um, and then going back to another point that Lori raised, which is the possibility of using the Amherst the East Amherst Commons as the site. The bylaw says that the artwork has to be in the building or on its grounds. Um, when that question came up in the council, they really left it open. There was, I would say, a good vibe in response to that suggestion. So I wouldn't rule it out on the wording that's in the bylaw. There may be a way to get permission for that. There may also be a clever way of having, I'm just speculating here, it's just off the cuff, a nice substantial sculpture out on the common and something in the building that ties to it. So you could make the argument that that common is kind of an extension of, out of the school. I don't know whether that flies or not. I always get these harebrained ideas, but I think the upshot is I wouldn't give up on the idea of the green.
I wanted to respond to a few things I heard. I think couple of questions would be, there's been talk at previous conversations, of wanting an artist who's connected to the town or an artist who's connected to the area. I think for this amount of money that shouldn't be a criteria for this.
Yeah.
So I don't think that this is something that we should think about local. I think that this is, if we can get to the $250,000 commission, then I think that we need to look at artists who, are beyond the New England area. That would be one thing. And in terms of a theme, there seems to be some interest. I heard of it having something to do with this being a zero net building, something to do with climate. There were other things about, having a sundial. There were, that's like something simple you could do, have a sundial, or you could do bike racks and a sundial. There's these kinds of ideas that, yes, if they give us $100,000, I think that's the direction we're going to go in. That's probably what would happen. And so I think if that is what they're looking for, then maybe they'll get a bike rack and a sundial from an artist who's connected to this area, someone who hasn't done many commissions, is not an artist who is well known. But if my recommendation, I think we need to tell them this, and that then if we can go for the full amount, which I think is in keeping with public art in a public building connected to the cost of the building, then we can go ahead and I think it would be good to get a consultant. They actually, obviously, they make a commission on it as well, but who is very well aware of what artists, certain artists, and they'll do the research and they'll come up with several different artists, present to us a presentation, something like that. But then you look at it, and I had sent this, so I just want to say this one more thing is that I did send a budget for if you had $100,000 that I found online, and it was more sort of for artists,
Yeah.
but you can see in it that fabrication, that may be 30%. So I don't want
Yeah.
I want to be clear when we do present that $100,000 does not mean you got a work of art that is valued at $100,000.
Mhm.
It means that
Something.
you're spending, say, 30,000, 30% on fabrication. And there's a lot of other money involved to make this happen because it's a total of $100,000. So if we choose 4 artists and they each make presentations and we give them an honorarium, the the travel and accommodation, the insurance itself, the installation cost. So I want to really break it down so that they understand
Yeah.
that 100,000 doesn't mean you get a work of art
Yeah.
that costs
Means you get art.
100,000.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Lori.
Excellent. Excellent.
That's so
So,
thorough and appropriate. It really
Mhm.
is.
yeah. So that's sort of I think
I think we should bring
I
it
hope that
down.
I hope that we can meet again before the town council meeting so that we can
Oh,
really
yeah.
create an
Yeah.
outline
Yeah.
for the
Right.
presentation and decide who wants to present at the town council and for others to be able to, I think we'll be able to speak, and then in public comments, each person can do 5 minutes. So if we show up in public comments, we can each say more.
Right.
Um,
I think we should do it for
Lori?
both the 100 and then the 250 and break it down, which would be a good test or to show them what that means.
Mhm.
I
I
bet
think,
they would immediately dive for the 100.
I don't
I
know.
don't, I don't think so. Don't think
I
so.
got the feeling that
Good.
there were some counselors who are really interested in the full amount. So I think probably what's realistic is that we could get somewhere in between. Oh, I wanted one
Mhm.
other point I wanted to make. Um, is that one of the other points, and I said this, I just saying it out loud because I sent it written to you all, was that Kathy was also outlining, because for the 100,000, one of the her reasons for that is that we're not spending that would save taxpayer money. But I think that 150,000 savings of taxpayer money is not much for individuals in terms of how much it's going to save them on their
Yeah.
taxes. And I don't know what amount, but if we
Especially
have,
over time. It's over time also. It's
I
not
mean,
like it
if
all
it's,
comes due 1 year.
yeah, so I think the savings is going to be negligible to individual taxpayers. I don't think
Yeah.
they'll feel it one way or another. The building itself, yes, that's huge. But
Yeah.
this piece of it, I don't think it's not like this money's going to go back into the building and they can use it for something else.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, one thing I like about Mikey's suggestion about thinking along the lines on 2 different levels of spending is that would give us the chance for counselors to say that, look, for another dollar a year on the tax bill, we can do the whole thing. I think,
Is any of it on the tax bill?
what's that?
Is any of this money on a tax bill in
It will
any?
all go on the tax. It all goes into um, the the funding.
Didn't we get an override for
Yes.
this
Yeah, we
funding
got
up
an
there?
override.
Right.
And so the cost of the whole school, the whole project, will be borne by Amherst taxpayers over what, 30 years or something? And I remember seeing somewhere in the minutes of um, uh, the building committee that, talking about what does that really mean in terms of what the average tax bill, how much it's going to go up. I think we can drill one level more and say how much impact does spending 250 versus 100 have? And I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be that over a 30-year spread across all the taxpayers, that it does not come to much. Now, having said that, and having seeing how frankly bitter some of the politics is getting in the town over the town budget, my concern going into the meeting last week was that the town councilors would be very skittish about spending any money
Okay.
on art, but with the possible exception of Kathy, I didn't hear that
I didn't either.
from the counselors.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Mhm. Um, let's we're at the end of our planned meeting time here. Um, what are people's ideas about what homework and preparation we should be doing over the next weeks to address the aspirations that we set for ourselves at this meeting?
I think it would not be surprising if we were asked about our past projects that were unsuccessful. And I think we may need to come up with some justification or maybe explanation for how those things fell through, so that it looks like we have a good accounting.
I
Um,
actually think they won't ask about it because I don't think they have any clue what we do.
oh,
Yeah,
really? Okay, okay.
yeah, yeah, I think that's right.
I don't think they know
I will,
anything. I think that for the making it public, the town dropped the ball on that. That was not us.
Yes, they did.
And the other projects are minor. I don't think they're aware,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
We
honestly.
just
I
have
think that's right.
unfortunate stuff happening with us, with our artists disappearing. I mean, that was
Yeah.
just, how do you,
Well, they don't know about it. They know
okay.
they know they would say that they know I think that they know about the one that was connected to the parking garage. And I
Mhm.
think they all think that's a failure. And they're probably fearful of a future failure like that. And I think we have to
That's the
be,
one I would be concerned about. That's
that's
the
the
one I
one.
would be concerned about.
But
Yeah, the
Yeah.
we
Boatwood
weren't part of
project.
that. And I think that we have people who
Mhm.
on the committee now who are professional. I think that's even more reason to hire someone. And
Mhm.
what I will
Yeah.
volunteer, I have
Yeah.
a close friend in California. Hopefully I can make contact with her who is her business is public art and she's worked with many towns in California to
Oh,
do
wow.
public art projects. So I can
Oh, that'll
speak
be,
with her and I can do that before our next meeting to get some information from her and see what she can help with. And also maybe what her fees are and what she thinks of this amount of money and get her opinion on this. And so
mhm.
I will do that.
Are there
Okay.
any
Couple,
art consultants at UMass or anybody that's done any big projects there that we could talk to there? Or does anybody know any of the professors in the art
We
department?
probably need to do a search of consultants so that it looks like it is fair and not biased. I mean, that's
Right.
just how
yeah.
you'd have to do it. But I think Lori's talking about like getting information about how this process works, what the
Yeah.
Right. I
idea of the
agree.
cost is. Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's
I was
all
just going to
really
get
good
some informational
information.
things because
Yeah,
I know she's done
exactly.
some big projects with way more money than we're talking about. So
Yeah.
the smaller amount, I think, we'll see what she has to say because her projects have been much bigger.
Hmm.
Okay, one thing that I will commit to doing is I'll get back in touch with Kathy, who was the counselor who offered at the meeting that Lori and I attended. She was the one who offered to show us on the plans the places that had been discussed with the architect. So I'll get in touch with her and I'll ask for a meeting, and then anybody who wants to come, anybody from the commission here, let's try to get several people, several eyes and sets of eyes and ears to do that. If you um, if you want to look ahead on that, and if you look through the flurry of stuff that I sent a couple of weeks ago, which I copied from the the building committee's website, there are plans and illustrations, renderings, and even a very nice video, two of them, in fact, one inside the building and one outside. And I chopped those up and labeled them. So take a look back in that set that I sent, and you can start to get a little bit of an idea. I'll tell you, when I looked at those, I was bowled over by how beautiful everything looks and how intelligent, smart, and um, top shelf, top drawer, whatever. How good the quality was. I was really kind of lifted by it, and I th so do take a look, and then we'll also try to have that sit down meeting where we can go through in more detail.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. If anybody else has connections to pursue, people to talk with, again, in the spirit of exploring how best to do this and not necessarily to come up with a nominee,
Right.
that would be good. If you have the time to poke through some of the links that I provided um, in various communications, and you can start with the bottom of this multi-page memo here from Paul Bockelman. Take a look at some of those. Um, I wish there was something closer to be and impressive we could go or somebody could go and take a look at. I'm going to go up actually to Keene State College where they had a very impressive public artwork in the science building there. It'll be a nice day trip. Go out and take some
I'm going to ask
pictures
the
of that.
commissioners in Arlington that I work with if there is anybody there, because we recently put in a new high school in Arlington, and I'm not sure if
Mm,
there was any kind of a public art project, but I'll go ahead and I'll talk to the commissioners and see if there's any information I can glean from their experiences.
Right.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Lori, I sent you a couple of emails. I hope I sent it to the right email address. I'm sorry. But just to give you a little bit more background on the uh, how finances worked when Shoshona handed things over to me.
Okay.
So if you have any more questions, I'm happy to research and look into more of how that all went down.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Lori, I had a nice hallway conversation on another financial matter um, with somebody from the finance office. And she was so friendly, so helpful, so open, so glad to have somebody to talk that business with that if you have the time and inclination, you might be able to get a sit down at some point.
Okay. Great.
Okay. It's not an assignment. That's just a hunch I have that there may be a nice opening to make a nice connection.
Okay.
Okay. Um, I think we're about ready to adjourn the meeting. Anybody dying to keep on talking tonight? Nope. Okay.
Like to make
Thank
a
you
I
all.
motion
think
to adjourn.
one
Okay.
quick comment is to put the date for that meeting on your calendar. If the more of us that could be there, the better.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
Dara, you
yeah.
spoke beautifully to what
hmm
we're hoping to accomplish. So I hope you can be at the town
hmm
meeting.
May
I'm
19th.
going,
May
I've
19th.
sent a note. I sent a note this afternoon to Paul Bockelman asking if I could have a conversation with him to hear his thoughts on our preparations for that meeting. And so one of the things I'll want to ask him is whether we can set it up so that we can have a panel to talk with the um, with the council, sit down as a panel in front of them rather than have one person present and then everybody else just get the usual 5 minute. Actually, it's 3 minutes. That's what they were doing at the town council. But I think it'd be more effective. We could still have a primary presenter, but if we had, if we had 2 or 3 or 4 people sitting there interacting with the 10 or 12 of 13 of them, I think that would be very effective.
Yeah, we just have to have time to plan how we want
Yeah.
to
Oh, definitely.
have our timing down and have the order down and have it all ready,
Do we want to
Yeah.
pick then a date to meet rather than like,
Yeah.
do we want to pick a date right now?
I think it'd be a really good idea.
Yeah. Um, Something like 10 days in advance, do you think, Dara?
Um, so,
I think we should meet a few times.
Okay.
okay,
I
yeah,
mean,
So who's going to that meeting? Because it's probably going to be during the day, which means I can't, because
I
I
can't
work
either.
in the school.
I thought they're always in the evening. It's 5:30, aren't
Town
they?
council meetings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mikey, I think that is probably an evening time. My guess
Okay.
is that the counselors also have day jobs,
yeah.
but we can confirm that. Um,
Okay.
all right. So should I send out a doodle poll to look for a couple of
Yeah,
dates?
that's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Um,
So
yeah, that's good.
okay.
Thank you.
So the meeting the next meeting is with the art consultants, or not with the art consultants, but for the percent for art. What day is that day?
May
Um,
19th.
it's a regularly scheduled town council meeting.
Okay, and now is that at night?
I believe they're all at 6:30.
Okay. I'll look
Again,
it
I
up.
think the website, their website should
Okay.
answer that. I
Okay, I'll
believe
look at
so.
it.
I think if we could meet the week of like April 7th, come back together to really
Mhm.
focus on this, that would be
April
great.
7th.
Yeah, I mean, that gives us each a couple of weeks to do some research, to think about
Yeah.
it, but then come back again and not wait too close. I think because we might
Yeah.
probably want to meet again and then have a final meeting before
Yeah.
to really make
Yeah.
sure we're prepared.
Right.
Okay.
I'm
So,
traveling for work from April 8th to 21st.
ooh,
So that's a big chunk of time when I won't be able to do it, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a meeting.
Mhm.
And
So maybe,
I can get on a Zoom meeting when I'm traveling. I don't know yet.
or we can meet before the 7th.
Yeah.
yeah, let's try for that.
April 6th
And
is fine. If you all like April 7th,
What day of the week is that?
I don't know. I don't have a calendar.
Monday.
Monday. Okay.
works for me.
Are you
I will
available,
do it.
Dara, on the 7th?
I am available on the 7th.
I'm available on the 7th.
I'm available on the 7th.
Maybe I've got elections going on at Hampshire.
Okay.
I will
Right,
try to make the 7th.
should we call it 6? So you want to do 6 p.m. on the 7th?
Yes.
Yes.
I should be able to make
Okay.
it. I
Yes.
think I can make it.
Okay.
And we just
Okay,
need to
good.
let Lynn know.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
That'd be great. That saves you doing a doodle poll, Tom.
How about that?
Yeah, that's good.
Just a heads up, because I'm on 2 other boards. They set theirs up to be a certain Monday or Tuesday every month. And then, because they used to do doodle polls too, and then there were
Mhm.
so many people that would go one way or the other. So then they just said, okay, we're doing it this day, every month.
Mhm.
So that might
Mhm.
be something you decide to
I
do
would
down.
I would love to see us do that.
Mhm.
All right, so
I
we
don't
got
mind
one
giving up
meeting.
one Monday a month.
Okay. Right, but it sounds like I will have to do a doodle for the second meeting. the meeting after the 7th, the next one. That'll be probably, a couple of weeks later. I'm going by Lori's suggestion that we pace ourselves
Yeah,
and
So
not
probably
get too
after the
banged up.
21st,
How
when
about the
Dara gets
5th?
back.
How about Monday the 5th? And then we could be like the first Monday of every month.
oh, so that would be May 5th.
Yeah, would that work?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yep.
I think so too. I think that works for me.
Yep.
Works for me.
Tentatively.
And
Okay.
that gives you 2 weeks until the meeting if we have to do anything more planning or thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yes.
then maybe if that works out, we can just do the first Monday of every month.
Right.
Mhm.
That'd be
There'll be a
terrific.
time in July and August that I'll be on an island in the middle of nowhere.
Great. I
Man.
like that.
Go.
come.
Spoiled.
Well, buildings were built by the Native Americans in the 1800s, so you can see through the wood. And we use outhouses. We have bathrooms sometimes, but outhouses too. Yes, it is spoiled, but there's not a lot of Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
We don't
Yeah.
need Wi-Fi. We'll all come and camp out.
It's a good 24-hour drive.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yep. Okay.
Yep, on the
So we have
UP of Michigan.
yeah, Upper
Tom's been up
Peninsula.
there.
Yeah,
It's far.
you don't drive, you fly to Mackinac and then drive. Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second to adjourn.
I second.
Show of hands to approve adjournment. Okay, looks good.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Tom.
all.
You.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Lori.
Good meeting.
Okay,
Thanks.
Mhm.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.